The painted table of Dragonstone had been carved for war, but that night Aegon Targaryen studied it as if it might yet teach him peace. Candlelight ran like molten gold along the ridges of carved mountains and valleys, filling the hollows of rivers, glimmering upon the tiny towers that marked the great castles of Westeros. His finger traced a slow path from the jutting hook of the north down along the line of the neck, over the creased plains of the Reach, to the jagged mark of Blackwater Bay. He had walked this path 100 times in his mind, always with the same end: fire, blood, bent knees, broken crowns. Yet the dream would not leave him. Aegon. Visenya's voice cut softly through the hush of the hall. She stood in the doorway, tall and still, like a sword planted in stone. She wore no jewels, only a simple sleeveless gown that bared the pale scars on her arms. Her hand rested on Dark Sister's hilt as easily as another woman might toy with a necklace. He did not turn. "You did not sleep, nor did you." Her boots clicked softly as she crossed the chamber. The wind moaned outside Dragonstone's thick walls, bringing with it the distant thunder of waves crashing upon black rock. Rhaenys dreams of songs and cheers. "You dream of shadows." "I dream of dragons," he said, "and of snow." Visenya came to stand opposite him. Her eyes, that strange shade of amethyst darkened almost to smoke, dropped to the table. "Again, again," Aegon murmured. He could see it still when he closed his eyes. Dragons wheeling across a sky gone black with storm, their wings beating a thunder that shook the bones of the world. Below them stretched a land of ice, an endless white waste lit by a bleeding crimson aurora. At the horizon, a wall of darkness moved. Not night, not storm, but something deeper. The heat of dragon flame met that cold, and where they clashed the world screamed. "You say nothing when you wake," Visenya said. "You only stare at this wood and polish its edges with your hands. Tell me, brother, is it our foes this time? Perrin the Black? Argilac? The Gardeners and Lannisters side by side? I would rather face them than ghosts." He lifted his gaze to hers. "In the dream there are no crowns, no sigils, no banners. The land itself shivers. It is not the kings of Westeros that haunt me, sister. It is what waits beyond their quarrels." Visenya watched him in silence. The candles crackled between them. Wax dripped like slow tears. "You think it ascending from Valyria," she said at last. "I know it is." The certainty in his own voice surprised him, but it was solid as stone beneath his feet. "Our blood remembers. Dragons do not dream idly. I have seen that frozen land more nights than I can count. I have heard a name whispered in a tongue older than old Valyria, a song of ice and fire bound together, and every time I see Westeros broken and burning. Broken not by us, but because we were too busy breaking one another when the true enemy came." Visenya's lips thinned. "So you would not conquer?" He waited for the word to stir anger in him, and felt only weariness. "I would unite. By what name do you think the realm will call it, if not conquest?" she asked. "Argilac will not lay aside his crown because you speak fair words. Perrin will not unmake his towers at a whispered plea. The Storm King and the King of the Rock dreamed of ruling this whole land before you were born. They will not bow while they still believe their spears and swords might do what dragons can do better." "Better?" he asked mildly. "Or only bloodier?" Visenya's hand tightened on Dark Sister's hilt. "If you do not strike first, they will gather against you. We are three with 3 dragons. They are hundreds of thousands with steel. Let them come one by one, and we will make an end of it. Let them come all together, and we will make a great end of it. That is the choice." "A choice," Aegon agreed, "but not the only one." A footstep lighter than Visenya's laughter sounded beyond the doorway, then quickened. Rhaenys swept in like a breeze, in loose blue silk that swayed around her legs. Her dark hair was unbound, tumbling about her shoulders. She carried a goblet in one hand and a scroll in the other, and her eyes, brighter, softer, yet no less sharp than Visenya's, went straight to Aegon's face. "You're doing it again," she said. "Doing what?" he asked, looking as if you mean to pick up the whole table and carry it on your back. She handed him the goblet. Drink, he sipped. It was spiced wine warmed, with a curl of orange peel floating in it. You have been in the kitchens. I have been everywhere. Rhaenys hopped up to sit on the very edge of the painted table, heedless of Visenya's faint frown. Down to the lower town, to hear the fishermen grumble about storms. Up to the rookery, where the maester hides the good cheese. And to the yard, where the men oil the saddles for our dragons and mutter about the great war to come. She tilted her head, studying him. But I do not think there will be a war. Visenya's nostrils flared. You think they will hand us their crowns kindly? I think Aegon will not ask for crowns, only for oaths. Rhaenys smiled. Is that not so? He did not answer at once. They were his wives, his sisters, his oldest and truest counselors. One had a mind like a whetted blade, the other like a net that caught every whisper of wind. Between them, they could drag him toward any shore they pleased, if he loosed his grip on the tiller. I have dreamed of fire over fields and forests, he said quietly, of men and women burned because they chanced to stand beneath our wings. I could take this land in a year, perhaps two. We all know it. Heron's stone, Lorne's gold, Mern's green banners, Argilac's pride. All of it would melt under dragon flame. But what then? Ash is a poor soil to plant unity in. Rhaenys' gaze softened. And what do you see in the dream where you do not burn teach? The same winter, he said. The same darkness rising in the far north. But when I look south, I do not see 7 shattered realms, each nursing fresh wounds. I see a single realm, wary but bound, with dragons and steel and prayer all turned northward. I see hope, perhaps. Visenya's silence was not assent, but neither was it outright opposition. She stared down at the carved coasts, her thumb tracing idly along the Vale's narrow coastline. You would have us fly to each king with open hands, she said. Offer them mercy before they have felt fear. Offer them choice, Aegon corrected. If they will not take it, then we will speak again of fear. But I would give them a chance to bend before they need to be broken. Not for their sakes, but for the sake of what comes after us. Soft words will be taken for weakness, Visenya said. Not when spoken from a dragon's back, Rhaenys murmured. Let them look up and see Balerian's shadow, and then hear our brother tell them he has no wish to burn them. That will frighten them more than fire. It will make them wonder why. It will make them listen. Aegon looked between them, feeling the weight of the moment press upon his shoulders more heavily than any breastplate. I will not be the Lord of Ash, he said. If I must be a king at all, let it be of a realm that does not begin in slaughter. We have strength enough to do what no Valyrian dragonlord ever bothered to do, to build with our power rather than merely carve with it. I mean to try. Visenya's lips curved, though whether in grim amusement or reluctant admiration he could not tell. You were born stubborn, she said. Very well, we will try your way first. Rhaenys laughed, bright as bells. First, yes, and if it fails, we can always fall back onto mine. Yours? Visenya asked. Fire and song, Rhaenys said. I will burn their banners and then write a ballad so sweet that their grandchildren will wish they had been there to see it. Aegon could not help the ghost of a smile. Let us leave the ballads for later. For now, we will send ravens. Ravens? Visenya repeated flatly, as if the bird itself had insulted her. To kings. To men, Aegon said. Kings for now. Lords, if they are wise. I will invite them to a council. Where? Rhaenys swung her legs, heels tapping the carved forest of the riverlands. Here, under your dragon-faced gargoyles? They will never come to Dragonstone, Visenya said. They would think it a trap. And if we go to each of them instead? Rhaenys said. We could begin with Argilac. The Storm King is closest. His pride is nearest at hand too. Argilac sends insults and spurns offers, Visenya said. He sent you a girl with fear in her eyes and a bastard name for our half-brother. "The girl is no insult," Aegon said. "Only a pawn in her father's hand." "Pawns burn as quickly as kings," Visenya said. "They might also yet be queens," Rhaenys murmured. Aegon set down the goblet and straightened. The decision settled within him with a strange, quiet clarity. He had expected a struggle, some tearing in his spirit between the conqueror the world named him and the peacemaker his dream demanded. Instead, it felt like a sword sliding home into a well-fitted scabbard. "Draft the ravens," he said. "All the kings, all the high lords who style themselves such. I will offer them terms for a peaceful union, and a place at a great council where we will shape this new realm together." "And if they laugh?" Visenya asked. He thought of Balerian's great black shadow falling over a laughing man's face. "Then we will see if their laughter survives the sight of a dragon landing in their yard," he said. The ravens flew 3 days later, black flecks vanishing into a gray autumn sky. Aegon's words flew with them, copied in the maester's hand again and again until his fingers cramped. To her Grace Shara Arryn, Queen Regent of the Vale, and to his Grace Ronald, King in the Vale, he wrote of mountains and eyries, of how the falcon might fly higher and freer if the storms at its borders were quelled by common oath. To his Grace Torrhen Stark, King in the North, he wrote more plainly. Of winter, of the tales the Targaryens had carried from crumbling Valyria, of ancient cold and dead things that walked. He wrote of the wall, and of the need for dragonflame upon it if those tales proved true. To his Grace Mern Nine Gardener of the Reach, he wrote of harvests. To his Grace Loren Lannister, of gold. To Harren the Black, he wrote of stone and how even stone cracked in the right heat. To Argilac of the Durandons, he wrote of storms and of the peace that followed them. To Sunspear in Dorne, his letter was couched in the language of respect for a people who had never bowed to Valyria, and of alliance rather than fealty. The Martells had Nymeria's blood in them, and Nymeria had once sailed from Essos's burning shores to Westeros's sandy ones. They would understand the weight of doom drifting eastward. He sealed each letter with black wax impressed by the three-headed dragon. Not snarling, not dripping flame, only watching. When the last raven was gone, Rhaenys leaned against his shoulder at the window, following the birds with her eyes until they were specks against the sky. "They will call you mad," she said. "They already do," Visenya said from behind them. "The difference is whether they will call him mad and burn, or mad and live." Aegon watched the empty space where the last raven had vanished. "They will call me many things," he said. "I care only what history calls me." "Conqueror," Visenya said. "It will still be that. It suits you too well." "May it be Peacemaker," Rhaenys said softly. "Aegon the Binder, Aegon the Bridge, Aegon the Fool," Visenya murmured, though not unkindly. Aegon said nothing. In his mind, the dragons wheeled above an endless wall of ice, and the darkness beyond it shifted, watching back. The first answer came from Storms, and Argilac Durandon did not waste ink on courtesy. "The Stormlands bows to no foreign whelp with a Valyrian toy," he wrote. "I was a king before your grandsire ever drew breath. You may sit your black rock and dream of owning what you have not the courage to take. If you want my knee, Dragon Lord, come and cut it from me." "Courteous," Visenya said when she read it. "We should go at once." Rhaenys laughed. "He is very like his sigil. All sound, all wind, all crashing waves. No sense." Aegon folded the letter neatly and set it beside the painted table, upon the carved mark of Storm's End. "He has given us our answer. We will go." "To parley?" Visenya asked. "To look him in the eye," Aegon said. "He has never seen a dragon. He writes of Valyrian toys. Let us educate him." The storm lashed Dragonstone when they took to the sky. Meraxes leapt from the cliff like an arrow from a bow, her pale silver scales slick with rain. Rhaenys laughing into the wind as she clung to her neck. Vagor, smaller but thick of limb and vicious of temper, roared and beat the storm aside with her bronze-green wings, with Visenya sitting erect as a spear upon her back. Balerion came last, always last. The black dread spread his wings and the storm seemed to flinch. His scales drank the light. The beat of his wings broke the tops of waves, shook spray into the air like shattered glass. Aegon could feel the great beast's power through the saddle and harness, a deep, steady might that matched the pounding of his own heart. They flew southwest over restless seas, the wind clawing at their cloaks, the dragons' bellies ripped by rain. Dragonstone dwindled behind them, its spires black spikes against a bruised horizon, and ahead the coastline emerged, a jagged gray line beneath heavy cloud. Storm's End rose out of the storm as its name promised, a drum tower of ancient stone upon a cliff, the sea battering at its feet in great white explosions. Lightning forked across the sky, briefly drawing stark black lines along its battlements, its gatehouse, its unyielding walls. Men ran along those walls as the dragons descended. They were tiny, frantic figures, raising spears that meant nothing. A horn sounded, swallowed by thunder. Another followed, higher, more tremulous. A little closer, Rhaenys called across the wind, her voice surprisingly clear. Merax's dipped, wheeled, then came low over the outer yard of the castle, so low that Aegon could see the guards' faces lift, pale and slack-jawed, their hair whipping in the storm wind from her wings. Contempt written in ink became something else entirely when answered by a dragon's scream in one's ears. Vhagar circled above, Visenya watching like a hawk. Balerion descended toward the sea, skimming the roaring waves, then rose hard and fast, straight up along Storm's End's face, so that men leaning over the battlements to see him nearly toppled backward at the sudden close presence of all that black scale and teeth. Aegon did not loose fire. He did not need to. When Balerion settled at last upon the rocky ground beyond the curtain wall, the cliff trembling faintly under his massive weight, Aegon unfastened his harness and swung down. The air between rainbists smelled of salt and smoke and dragon, sharp and metallic. The gate did not open at once. Aegon waited calm, arms crossed over his chest, the storm plastering his hair to his brow. Visenya landed Vhagar a short distance behind him, sword already belted at her hip, her expression a tight mask of readiness. Merax's appeared last, Rhaenys sliding down with a delighted gasp at the feel of wet earth beneath her boots. "You think he will come out?" she asked. "He will," Aegon said, though a part of him knew that if Argilac chose to bury himself within his walls, there was little they could do to draw him out without turning words to war. The Storm King was too proud not to look a Dragonlord in the eye. The gate creaked open. Argilac Durrandon came out on foot, his cloak a dark gold, whipped by the wind. He was older than Aegon by 20 years at least, his beard threaded with gray. His face seamed by weather and war, but his shoulders were still straight, and his eyes, gray as the sea, met Aegon's without flinching. Behind him stood a knot of bannermen, and a girl. The girl had been in Argilac's hall a year past, when the Storm King had sent her to Dragonstone as if she were coin and not blood. Argella, the Storm King's daughter. She stood now with her chin raised, her dark hair braided back from a strong, stubborn face. "So," Argilac shouted over the wind, "you have come to cut off my knee." Aegon said nothing for a moment. He let the storm speak. The crash of waves, the hiss of rain, the slow rumbling breath of Balerion at his back. "I have come to offer you a choice," he called back, "as I offered in my letter." "You offered chains," Argilac said, "wrapped in silk and soft words. You would have me trade my crown for a stool at your council table, my storm's thunder for a whisper in your ear. I am too old for gilded cages, Dragonlord." "And your people?" Aegon asked. "Are they too old for graves?" A flicker, then, in the Storm King's eyes. Not fear. Argilac was not a man given to fear, but calculation. He looked past Aegon, up at Balerion's vast bulk, at Merax's pale gleam, at Vhagar's sharp silhouette above. "You mean to threaten me?" he said flatly. "I mean to tell you the truth," Aegon said. "You know stone and storm, Argilac. You have held this castle against storm and siege alike, but you have never held it against fire that falls from the sky. Your walls are thick. They will only hold the heat once it is inside." Argilac's jaw clenched. If you mean to burn us, do it. I will not kneel. The Durandons have stood here 10,000 years. And will your line endure one more day, if the dragon's shadow falls? Aegon asked, his voice quieter now. Look at your men. Look at your daughter, Arch. Elale's eyes flashed. Do not speak of me as if I am not here. Then listen, Aegon said, meeting her gaze. Your father's pride is no shield against Dragonflame. I do not wish to burn this place. I do not wish to see your people running like sparks in the wind. I have seen enough of that in my dreams. Dreams, Argilac scoffed. You come to me with tales of dreams. With truth, Aegon said. There is a doom coming for this land greater than any storm, greater than any dragon. To face it, Westeros must stand as one. Not under my boot, but bound by oaths strong enough to hold when the cold comes. I would have you be part of that binding, Argilac. Not my enemy, but my ally. Ally? Argilac mocked the word, but there was a strain in his voice now, a thread beginning to fray. What ally comes with 3 great beasts at his back? The same ally who will bring those beasts north when winter darkens the world, Aegon said. You call yourself the Storm King. I ask you to become something more, Lord of the Stormlands, sworn to a high king, with a voice at his side whenever decisions are made that affect this realm. I will not strip you of your lands. I will not take your keep. I will not demand your daughter for myself. His gaze flicked briefly to Argella. But I have a half-brother, Orys Baratheon, a man of courage and honor. Let him wed Argella. Let your lines be bound to mine. Let the storm and the dragon stand together. Argella's cheeks flamed, but it was not the blush of a bashful maid. Aegon recognized anger there and something else, something like wary curiosity. Argilac's hands curled into fists. You would make me a lesser lord. I would make you a living one, Aegon said. Silence stretched, taut as a drawn bow. Rain drummed on leather and steel. Lightning flared again, close enough that the hairs on Aegon's arms lifted. Show him, Visenya said quietly at his shoulder. Aegon did not need to ask what she meant. He turned and laid a hand upon Balerian's massive neck. The dragon's skin was hot beneath his palm, the scales rough and oddly smooth at once. Balerian's great golden eyes slit open, fixing on him. Higher, Aegon murmured. The sea, not the walls. Balerian moved, a slow, enormous shift of muscle. He stretched his neck over the cliff's edge, opened his jaws, and exhaled. The fire came out black at first, like smoke, then turned red, then white where its heat was greatest. It struck the sea with a hiss like 1,000 serpents. The waters boiled, leaping back from the touch in great plumes of steam. For a heartbeat, the rain could not reach them. The air itself seemed to recoil. Men fell to their knees. Some screamed. Others stared, their faces ghost pale in the light of that impossible flame. Argilac did not kneel, but he stepped back. When the last echo of Balerian's roar had rolled away and the sea had begun to calm, Aegon turned back to the Storm King. I would rather you stood beside me because you chose to, he said. Not because I thrust you to your knees. But either way, the dragons will fly and this land will be bound. The choice is whether it will be bound by oaths or by graves. Argilac's chest rose and fell. Rain washed the salt spray from his beard. How many kings have you spoken to with such words? He demanded. I have sent ravens to all, Aegon said. You are the first I have come to in person. Argilac's mouth quirked grimly. Because I called you a whelp. Because you are closest, Aegon said, refusing the bait. Because the Stormlands stand between Dragonstone and the rest of Westeros. Because if we must pass over you in flame, it will sour all that comes after. The storm growled overhead. Somewhere a banner whipped loose from its pole, snapping wildly in the wind. The crowned stag, caught between sky and sea. Argilac looked at his men, at his daughter, at the dragons, at his castle, which had stood against storm and siege for longer than any scroll could remember, now facing a threat it had never been built to withstand. At last he laughed. It was a harsh sound like rock cracking. "You ask an old man to unmake himself," he said. "Very well, I will not kneel, but I will bend." He pulled his sword from its scabbard, slowly, the steel gleaming dull under the gray sky. For a heartbeat, Visenya's hand flew to Dark Sister, but Argilac only reversed his blade and held it out, hilt first. "I, Argilac of House Durandon," he said, voice carrying even over the storm, "King of the Stormlands, Lord of Storm's End, hereby set aside my crown and kneel in my heart to Aegon of House Targaryen as my liege and high king. Let my titles be changed, not my land. Let my grandson's children speak of Lord Argilac, not king, and curse me if they will, but let them live to do so." He pressed the sword into Aegon's hand. Lightning flickered again. For an instant, it lit the blade with ghostly fire. Aegon accepted it. "I, Aegon of House Targaryen," he said, lifting his voice for all to hear, "do name Argilac of House Durandon Lord of the Stormlands and Warden of the Narrow Sea, vassal to the Iron Throne that shall be forged. His lands and rights shall be protected by my dragons and by my law. Any man who raises hand or whisper against his oaths to me will find both turned upon him." Argilac's eyes flickered at the mention of a throne yet unmade, of iron yet unfused. "You dream large, Dragon Lord." "We all do, it seems," Aegon said. Argella stepped forward, rain streaking her face. She did not kneel either. She looked Aegon straight in the eye. "And what of your promise for me?" she asked. Aegon gestured. Orys Baratheon, who had stood just behind Balerian's shoulder, stepped forward. He was taller than Aegon, darker of hair, his brow unmarked by a crown's pressure. The bastard half-brother, raised at Dragonstone, a sword in hand whenever Aegon needed one. "Orys is no king," Aegon said, "but he is my right hand. He will have lands and a castle. From me, whether you choose to join him to your line or no. The offer is yours to accept or refuse, my lady, not your father's." Argella's eyes widened, just slightly. Storm's End was not a place where women were often given the last word. "You would lose the chance to bind the Stormlands more tightly to you if I refused," she said, testing him. "I would lose nothing I am not willing to lose," Aegon said. "If you see my half-brother and find him lacking, I will not force you to his bed. A forced bond breeds only future rebellions. I mean this realm to last longer than my lifetime." Argella studied Orys then, openly. The bastard met her gaze steadily, with a hint of crooked humor at the corner of his mouth, as if he found the entire situation absurd but was prepared to live it nonetheless. "You fight well?" she asked him bluntly. "I drink better," Orys said. "Good," Argella said. "I prefer men who are not always thinking about their swords." Rhaenys' laughter flashed like sunlight. Visenya's mouth twitched. Argilac exhaled, long and slow. "If my daughter chooses you, bastard, see that you are worthy of her." "I will try," Orys said. "If she chooses." Argella wiped rain from her eyes, though Aegon thought there might be more than rain there now. "I will think on it," she said. "For now I choose this, that the Stormlands shall not burn." "That choice is already made," Aegon said. They left Storm's End with no banners torn down, no bodies left cooling in its yards. The stag still flew from its highest tower, but next to it, before the day was out, a banner of black and red was raised, the three-headed dragon whipping in the wind over waves that had been briefly boiled and then cooled again. "Peace," Rhaenys said as mare axes circled higher, catching a warmer current above the storm. "It feels strange, unsatisfying," Visenya said, glancing down at her dragon's claws. "Part of me wanted to see those walls crack." "They will crack one day," Aegon said, "but from within when time and tide take them. That will be victory enough for stone and sea. Our victories must be different." "How many such victories do you think you will win?" Visenya asked. "As many as the dragons will grant me," Aegon said. The ravens brought more answers while they were yet in the air. From Old Town came a measured letter under the hand of the High Septon, couched in thick layers of scripture and warning. The faith of the seven looked with concern upon Valyrian practices. It said, "Brother weddings offended the gods. Dragons frightened the small folk." Yet the faith also taught that strife among the faithful weakened them against the ungodly. If Aegon Targaryen would come to Old Town, lay his sword before the starry September's altar, and vow to protect the faith, perhaps the seven would look with favor upon his rule. "Do we kneel to their gods?" Visenya asked, brows knitting. "We already do after a fashion," Rhaenys said lightly. "We live in their kingdoms. We take their coin. We ask their maesters to tend our wounded." "Kneel," Visenya repeated. "Promise to protect a faith that would deny our way of life, our marriages, the bloodline that gives us dragons?" Aegon turned the letter over in his hands, feeling the weight not of parchment, but of the realm coiled around it. "We will go," he said. "We will hear what the High Septon asks. We will tell him what we can give and what we cannot." "And if he calls you abomination from his pulpit?" Visenya asked. "Then the starry September will learn that even stone can melt," Rhaenys said. "No," Aegon said, "not the September. I will not begin this reign by burning a holy place. If it comes to that, we will leave Old Town as we found it. But the High Septon will know that the dragons could have done otherwise." From the Westerlands and the Reach, the letters were more cautious. Myr 9 did not answer at once, but sent a courier with 20 questions about trade, grain levies, and whether Aegon meant to interfere with the Knights of the Harvest. Loren Lannister's hand was more direct. He asked what tribute would be required, what protections given, and whether his gold shipments to the free cities would continue unmolested. "He asks the cost of peace as if it were an inn supper," Rhaenys said. "I like him already." "He might be the most dangerous of them all," Visenya said. "Men who count the cost know exactly what they stand to lose." Torrhen Stark's answer was the one Aegon read twice. "I have heard tales of Dragonfire," Torrhen wrote in a tight, spare hand. "But I have also heard tales of winters that lasted a generation and of things in the dark that steel alone cannot slay. If you come to the Trident, I will come as well with a portion of my host. I will look upon your dragons with my own eyes. If I find truth in your words, the North will not be the cause of this land's breaking." "Wise," Rhaenys said. "Cautious," Visenya added. "Both," Aegon said. "He is a man the dream spoke to, even if he never dreamed it." From Sunspear, there was silence. Then, after long weeks, a letter in a flowing, foreign hand signed by Princess Maria Martell, Princess of Dorne. "Dorne does not kneel," she wrote. "We never have. Not to the Royne's flood, not to the lion's roar, not to the gardener's banner, not to Valyria's shadow. We will not start with you. But we remember Nymeria, who sailed from burning lands to these sands, and we remember that fire can fall from the sky. If you will treat with us as equals, we will speak of alliance. If you come with chains, you will find empty dunes where once there were towns." "An honest answer," Aegon said. "An infuriating one," Visenya replied. Rhaenys only smiled, her eyes already distant, as if she heard distant music in the desert wind. "We will treat with her," Aegon decided, "as equals. That will anger the others," Visenya said. "If you name yourself High King over all and treat one princess as if her sun burns as high as your own, then let them be angry," Aegon said. "I will need at least one friend in this realm who knows how to hold herself apart. Dorne will join or not on its own terms. For now, it is enough that they do not promise war." And Harren the Black sent no word at all. Even as Aegon flew to the Trident, even as he met Torrhen Stark on the riverbanks where the green fork met the blue, even as banners of wolf and dragon fluttered in the same chill wind, Harren sat in his vast tower of black stone and said nothing. It gnawed at Visenya like a bone between a dog's teeth. "He plans," she said one night as they camped beside the river. The Stark men kept their distance from the dragons, their eyes following Balerion uneasily even as he lay like a mountain of flesh and iron along the bank. "He watches the ravens fly and waits to see who kneels. Then he will strike wherever the oaths are weakest." He has no dragons, Rhaenys said. Only towers. Tall towers, Visenya said. Towers full of men. Men burn, Rhaenys said softly. Aegon sat apart, listening to the rustle of the camp and the lowing of oxen. The northern banners snapped in the sharp wind, the gray direwolf on white. They had come in good order, not as if to war, but not unarmed either. Torrhen Stark had brought 20,000 men, enough to show respect, enough to show that the north was no easy fruit to pluck. Will you ask him to kneel here? Rhaenys asked. No, Aegon said. I will ask him to see. He asked first to see the Northmen's faces, close, unhelmed. Torrhen agreed. The king in the north came to Aegon's fire with only a few guards. He was a broad man, his hair dark with streaks of white at the temples, his beard neatly trimmed. He wore a cloak of thick white fur and a simple heavy sword at his side. There were lines at the corners of his eyes that spoke of years squinting into snow and sun and worry. Aegon Targaryen, Torrhen said, inclining his head a fraction. Torrhen Stark, Aegon replied. They looked at one another for a long moment. The camp noises faded, or perhaps Aegon simply forgot to hear them. He saw caution in Torrhen's eyes, yes, and pride, but also a steadiness he had not seen in Argilac's storm-swept gaze, nor in the anxious flicker within Lord Mern's bright courtiers. You wrote of things in the north, Torrhen said without preamble. Of tales and dreams. Yes, Aegon said. I have heard old stories all my life, Torrhen said. Of the long night, of the white shadows that walked during it, cold as death. My forebears built the wall to keep such things away, or so the songs say. Maesters tell us such tales are half truth, half fancy. You write as if you believe every word. I believe enough of them, Aegon said. And the rest, my dreams have made real enough to me. Torrhen's jaw tightened, just a little. Dreams can be lies our own minds tell us. So can histories, Aegon said. So can kings. Torrhen huffed a breath that might have been a laugh. Fair. Aegon gestured toward Balerian's sleeping bulk, looming not far beyond the firelight. Come, he said. See my lie. They walked together, their guards staying respectfully back. The dragon's black scales shone faintly under stars beginning to pierce the twilight. His breaths came deep and slow, each an exhalation of faint heat that steamed in the cold air. Torrhen stopped a sword's length from one massive claw. Gods, he breathed. Just one, Aegon said, and not a god. Only a beast that remembers a time when men were small and few. Torrhen reached out, slowly. His gloved hand brushed one of Balerian's claws, lightly, as if touching a hot iron. He flinched back at the dragon's warmth, more startled by the reality than the size. You could burn Winterfell in a night, he said quietly. No wall could stop this, not even the wall. No, Aegon said. The wall is too thick. The heat would crack its surface, perhaps, but not melt it. Fire is not enough to break what was built against something stronger than fire. That is why our dragons are needed upon it, not against it. Torrhen was silent for a long moment. At first I was minded to march south, he admitted. When your ravens came, speaking of oaths and unity, my bannermen clamored for war. If this dragon man wants our lands, they said, let him come and try to take them. I thought to give them what they wanted, to meet you in battle on this very field. I know it well. My grandsire fought Ironborn here. I know its bogs and currents. I thought we might take your head, if your dragons were unprepared. And now, Aegon asked. Torrhen looked up at Balerion again. Now I think of my son's sons, he said. Of them standing on the wall, looking north. Of what they will need when the tales prove true. Pride is a poor shield against winter. He looked back at Aegon. You mean to be High King over all. If I kneel, I make myself less in the eyes of my people. They will call me the king who knelt. My name will carry shame for 1,000 years. Or honor, Aegon said. If kneeling now spares your people from burning later. Their songs will not care whether you kept your crown, only whether they lived to sing them. Torrhen studied him. You would not take the North's laws from us? He asked. Our gods? Our ways? You would be my vassal in oaths and war, Aegon said, not in prayer. So long as you send men when the realm needs them, and do not raise your banners against the rest, I will not meddle in how you judge a thief or wed your daughters. A high king who does not claw at his lord's rights, Torrhen mused. That would be a new thing in this world. Many new things are coming, Aegon said. Torrhen sighed, a long, slow breath that seemed to leave some weight behind it in the cold air. My bannermen will rage, he said. They will call me craven. They will say we could have taken your head. Could you? Aegon asked. Torrhen looked once more at Balerion, his vast flank. His shoulders sagged. No, he said simply. Not without paying a price too dear for pride. He sank to one knee. The king in the north, with snow in his beard and scars on his hands, bowed his head toward Aegon Targaryen. I, Torrhen of House Stark, king in the north, he said, voice low but clear. Do set aside my crown and bend my knee to Aegon of House Targaryen as my liege and high king. Let the north keep its ways, its gods, its snows. Let it send men when called. Let the dragons fly north when they are needed. Let history call me coward if it must. I will know I chose my people over my pride. Aegon stepped forward, the grass crunching under his boots. I, Aegon of House Targaryen, he said, do name Torrhen of House Stark, Lord of Winterfell and Warden of the North, my bannerman and my counselor in all matters that touch his lands. Any man who calls him craven for this day's choice will answer to me. He laid a hand upon Torrhen's shoulder. It felt like resting his palm upon a rock half buried in snow. Solid, cold, enduring. Rise, Aegon said. My lord. Torrhen rose. Later, alone, he would write to his sons and tell them what he had done and why. The songs would indeed name him the king who knelt, and some would spit the words. But when the long night came again, generations hence, the north would stand with dragons at its side, and strangers in distant lands would never know that the realm's salvation had once hinged on a single man's decision to bow his head. One by one, they came to the river. Lord Edmund Tully of Riverrun, bearing not a crown but a quiet fury against Harrenhal's shadow over his lands, offered his oath eagerly in exchange for the promise of Riverlands freed from Ironborn rule. The Arryns of the Vale sent their queen regent and her small son. Ronald Arryn tugged at Aegon's hand and asked, with child's bluntness, if he might ride a dragon. Aegon glanced at Rhaenys. She laughed and lifted the boy up before her on Merryx's saddle for a brief, carefully controlled circle above the camp, his shrieks of terrified delight ringing over the tents. You have won his heart, Shara Arryn said afterward, watching her son's flushed face. His heart will be needed, Aegon said. One day he will be a man, and men's hearts are harder to sway than boys. You would have the Vale bow, she said. I would have the Vale stand, he replied. Its mountains are too strong to be left to chance. Shara considered him with clear blue eyes. You ask a great deal. I ask no more of you than of any other, Aegon said. Less, perhaps. You keep your eyrie. You keep your laws. Only your title changes, from queen to lady. You take my crown and call it kindness, Shara said, but her lips curved faintly. Men have called worse things kindness. In exchange, Aegon said, you gain a high king who will make Old Town septons think twice before they meddle in the Vale's affairs, and Harrenhal's sons will never again raid your coasts with impunity. Assuming Harren kneels, Shara said. He will, Aegon said, with more conviction than he felt, or he will be alone. At last, after much arguing and calculation, she nodded. Very well, I will kneel for my son if not for myself, but do not expect me to like it. Liking is not required, Aegon said. Only loyalty. Those are harder to separate than you think, Shara said. Mern Gardner and Loren Lannister came together, as if to match the very history that might have been written in another world. Their host set its tents along the riverbank like a garden of banners. Green and gold in 100 hues, lions and roses, oaks and ears of wheat. There were more men there than Aegon had seen gathered in one place save in his dreams of war. For a long tense afternoon, both hosts faced one another across the water. The Golden Host and the Northern one, with Aegon's own smaller camp between them like a bridge or a fuse. "The field of fire," Rhaenys murmured, watching the banners flutter. "In another song." "Not this one," Aegon said. He rode out to the center of the fording place with no dragon at his back. Balerion lay well behind, out of sight, though his presence could be felt like heat on the air. Meraxes circled high above, a pale shape in the blue, watched and yet unseen by most. Vagor waited in the trees, silent as a lurking spear. Mern and Loren came to meet him. Mern wore a crown of fresh green leaves twined with gold, his face youthful and open, though his eyes were shrewder than his seeming. Loren's hair shone like beaten metal in the sun, his armor almost ostentatiously fine. "You mean to make us your lords?" Mern said without preamble, his gaze flicking to the dragon banners behind Aegon. "I mean to make you my counselors," Aegon said, "as well as my lords. You know your lands better than I ever will. I will need your voices in my hall." "You speak much of halls and councils," Loren said, "less of tribute and taxes. A high king must be fed. Our coffers are not bottomless." "I will ask for coin to pay for roads, ports, and watchtowers that serve the realm as a whole," Aegon said. "Not to fill my own vaults. I have little taste for gold. Iron suits me better." Loren's mouth quirked. "You will find many friends in my land with such sentiments. Still, a man who says he does not care for coin makes me wonder what he truly cares for." "Dragons," Mern said dryly. "People," Aegon said, "though the dragons will help me keep them alive." He did show them Balerion at last. Not burning, not roaring, only rising, towering, his wings blocking out the sun for a heartbeat as he stretched, the sound of his scales moving like distant thunder. Men on both sides flinched. The Riverlands host, the Northerners, the Reachmen, the Westerlanders. All of them looked up and saw their deaths made flesh, if ever the dragon were turned upon them. Aegon let them feel it. Fear, the knowledge of helplessness. Then he let Balerion lie down again. The dragon huffed once and closed his eyes, as if bored with this whole display. "That is what defiance will bring," Aegon said quietly. "Not today, not tomorrow, but if you set yourselves against the union I am building, the dragons will fly to those who stand with me. Ask yourselves if your sons' sons will thank you for that legacy." Loren drew a slow breath. "You would do well in my court," he said. "You speak like a man counting odds, not a zealot preaching destiny." "I have no wish to preach," Aegon said, "only to warn." Mern looked toward his own camp, toward the faces of knights whose fathers had held their lands for centuries under Gardener kings, toward the green fields beyond, heavy with wheat that would feed many mouths. "How many will die?" he asked quietly, as if speaking to himself. "If we say no." "Enough that it will be known in song as a great slaughter," Aegon said. "Enough that your line will likely end here upon this plain. The field of fire they will call it, and every child in this realm will grow up hearing of it." Mern winced, as if the very name stung him. "Fire," he said slowly. "Or what? What do you offer in the other hand?" "A place at my table," Aegon said. "Your oaths, your spears when we face a common foe, your wisdom in matters of harvest and hunger. Nothing more, nothing less." Loren's golden hair caught the light as he nodded, once. "If we refuse, we become a line in a sad song. If we accept, we become chapters in a longer one." "You always did like stories," Mern muttered to him. "Better to be bored than dead," Loren said. He turned back to Aegon. "Very well, I will kneel." Mern stared at him. You thought to do differently?" Loren asked mildly. "You are welcome to stand alone if you like." "I will not be the only fool in this tale," Mern said sharply. "If you kneel, I kneel. But gods curse you for forcing my hand." "Better their blessing than their curse," Loren said. especially when the gods in question have wings and teeth. They knelt together, kings of gold and green bending their knees on muddy ground before the Dragon Lord who had not yet burned them. By the time autumn deepened, the realm looked different upon the painted table. The crowns had not vanished. Wolves still ruled in the north, but now as wardens, not kings. The Vale's falcon perched under the dragon's wing. The lion and the rose sat side by side on one arc of the table's carving. The Storm's crowned stag stamped beneath the dragon banner hung upon Storm's End's walls. Only Heron's tower still stood alone, a dark carved lump on the map, untouched. "We cannot leave him," Visenya said. "He sours everything he touches. So long as he stands apart, others will look to him when they grow restless under your oaths." "Yes," Aegon said. "It is time." "How?" Rhaenys asked. "He has not answered a single raven. He will not come to the trident like the rest." "Then we go to him," Aegon said. "But not as we have gone before. If we ring his walls with dragons, it will be seen as siege. If we burn his towers, it will be war. We must find another path." "Words no longer serve," Visenya said. "Not alone," Aegon agreed. He thought of stone, of heat, of the dream where dragonfire met ice, of an image. Towers melted like candles, men screaming within, even if he willed it otherwise. What if they did not scream? "We will give Heron one miracle," he said slowly. "We will show him what dragonfire can do to stone, without spilling a drop of blood." "Stone does not bleed," Visenya said. "Men do." "Not if they are elsewhere," Aegon said. "We will ask him to empty one tower, as a gesture of good faith. Then we will burn that tower to its foundations while he watches. After that, if he still clings to his pride, we will know there is no peace possible. We will leave him to rot in the shell that remains and turn the realm against him." Rhaenys' brows rose. "You would not simply take his castle?" "I mean to be High King," Aegon said. "Not merely the man who sits in the tallest tower. Harrenhal is more cursed than prize. Let him keep what is left. Let his sons live in charred halls and remember that I chose to spare them." "And if he refuses to empty the tower?" Visenya asked. "Then we burn nothing," Aegon said. "We do not make war. We leave. But we leave with his refusal made plain before all the lords of the Riverlands. Let them decide then whether to keep bending their knees to a man who would rather see them all burn than yield an inch." Visenya shook her head slowly. "You weave a web of oaths and fears. One strand breaks, and the rest may not hold. Then we spin more strands," Aegon said. "This is what peace is, sister, work. Harder work than war." They flew to Harrenhal with banners of truce trailing behind their dragons' tails. Heron watched them come from the highest window of his tallest tower. He was a huge man, gone to seed, his once hard muscles buried under fat, his hair graying and receding. His black armor was chased with silver like spiderwebs, but his eyes were cold iron. "You come late," he said when Aegon stood before him in the vast echoing hall. The roof soared overhead, the stone newly set and unweathered. "You have taken your other knees. You think to take mine as the last stone in your foundation. I think to give you a chance to avoid what will otherwise come," Aegon said. "Your river lords bend to you now because they fear your wrath and your towers. They have seen neither dragon nor dream. If they see both, their fear will shift." "They will not turn on me," Heron said. "You have squeezed them hard," Aegon replied. "Do not be so sure they will not break." Heron's thick lips twisted. "You think yourself clever. I hear the tales. The Dragon of Peace, some call you. Aegon the Binder. Aegon the Unbloody. Names given by men who were never strong enough to swing a sword. I have swung swords, Eno." "Ugh," Aegon said. "I have killed men. It is not so fine a thing that I wish to make a feast of it." "Then you are weak," Heron said. "This is the truth of the world, Dragon Man. Men obey those who fear nothing. Not gods, not dragons, not high kings. I built these towers to prove that no fire could harm me. No battering ram could break these walls. They will stand when your dragon's bones are dust. They might, Aegon said quietly, if they were the only stone in the world. But there is stronger stone, Heron. You built these towers with masons and mortar. The wall in the far north was built with older arts. It holds back things you cannot imagine. Heron snorted. Old wives' tales. Perhaps, Aegon said. So were dragons once. He stepped closer, until Heron's breath fanned his face. The Ironborn king smelled of stale wine and smoke. I will not bandy tales with you, Aegon said. Here is my offer. Empty your westernmost tower. Every man, every woman, every child. Then stand with me upon your walls, and I will show you what dragonfire does to stone. Afterward, if you still choose to stand alone, I will leave. No banners torn, no blood spilled. But your people will know what you refused, and so will your vassals. Heron stared at him. You ask me to fear you, he said at last. I ask you to see clearly, Aegon said. Fear or not is your own affair. Heron's eyes flicked to Visenya, who stood with Dark Sister at her side. Her posture relaxed but her gaze alert. To Rhaenys, who smiled faintly, as if this were all a play she watched from rapt distance. To Balerian's shadow cut like a black wedge across the courtyard beyond, visible through the high slit windows. Empty the tower, Heron said at last. I will show you my fear, Dragon Lord. Your people must do it, Aegon said. By your word, I will not have it said that I tricked them, that I burned men under pretense. Heron's grin showed yellow teeth. How noble. Not noble, Aegon said. Necessary. It took the better part of a day to empty the tower. Aegon watched from the yard as men and women streamed out from its doors, carrying chests, sacks, children, clucking hens, grunting pigs. The tower in question housed a garrison and their families. Many glared at him as they passed, clutching their few treasures. Others looked up at Balerion with naked terror. Do you think him so stupid as to believe you will not burn another tower once you have shown this? Visenya asked low. I think him proud enough to want to see fire and believe he can still stand against it, Aegon said. And I think his people clever enough to know what it means when stone melts. At sunset, the last of the tower's residents had filed out. Heron himself climbed the wall, stiff with age and weight, his mailed feet clanging on the steps. Aegon, Visenya, and Rhaenys followed. From the western wall, the emptied tower stood stark against the darkening sky, its black stone drinking in the last light. Well, Heron said, show me, Dragon Lord. Aegon mounted Balerion. The dragon roused, sensing his rider's purpose. Heat built under Aegon's thighs, a familiar pressure. He rose into the air, wings beating, circling once over the yard, then turning toward the tower. For a moment, as the empty windows gaped beneath him like eyes, Aegon hesitated. Even empty, the tower represented human will, the labor of men's hands, the dreams of a line that had sought to make itself unassailable. To destroy it felt like more than a demonstration, felt like an ending, but something else must end, for something new to begin. Now, he whispered. Balerion roared, and his fire lanced out. It struck the tower halfway up. Stone, which Heron had believed so impervious, screamed when it met that heat. The sound was high and thin, almost like metal tearing. The black walls glowed red, then yellow, then white. Cracks spiderwebbed out like lightning. The tower sagged, slowly at first, then more quickly, stone flowing like half-melted wax. Men on the walls gasped, cursed, crossed themselves. One fell to his knees. Heron gripped the parapet so tightly his knuckles whitened. When Balerion's fire ceased, the westernmost tower of Harrenhal was half its former height. Its top had slumped sideways, stone fused into grotesque, half-molten shapes. Smoke rose from it in greasy plumes. The air smelled of hot rock, acrid and strange. No one inside, no one dead. A miracle, some would later say. A warning, others named it. You see now, Aegon said quietly when he stood again beside Heron. What will happen to the rest if I let the dragons loose? For one heartbeat, he thought he saw fear there, real and raw, in Heron's eyes. Then Heron laughed. It was a harsh, rasping sound, scraped from a throat that had swallowed too much smoke in its time. You have done what I could not, he said. You have marked Harrenhal forever. My name will be on the lips of every child in this realm, centuries hence. They will speak of Heron the Black and the dragons that melted his towers. They will speak of your folly, Aegon said, of your refusal to yield even when you saw what awaited you. Folly, Heron barked another laugh. You think me afraid of death? I have lived my life as I chose. I built what I wished. Let it stand or fall. I will not bend my neck to any man, dragon or not. He turned from Aegon and walked back toward the stairs. Some of his men looked ready to follow at once. Others hesitated, their eyes flicking between the ruined tower and the dragons in the yard below. You have had your miracle, Heron called over his shoulder. Now take your beasts and your gentle talk elsewhere. Harrenhal stands. The Riverlands stand with me. Let us see whose oaths hold faster when blood is finally shed. They left him to his pride, but they did not leave the Riverlands to his shadow. Lord Edmund Tully came to Aegon's camp that very night, slipping through the dark, in a plain cloak, as if he were a common hedge knight and not heir to an ancient castle. You kept your word, he said without greeting. You burned stone, not flesh. Your people saw, Aegon said. They did, Edmund replied. So did my bannermen. Heron's strength has always been his fear. Men feared his wrath, his iron, his towers. They feared that if they rose against him, he would slaughter them in their keeps and salt their fields. Now they see another fear, greater still, that he cannot wield. They see that you spared them when you could have burned them with his tower. He met Aegon's gaze. You mean to make a new order in these lands? I would see the Tullus at the heart of it. You ask a high price, Aegon said. I offer a high service, Edmund answered. The Tullus have kin among many river lords. They will follow where we lead, if they see Heron weakening. Name me Lord Paramount of the Trident, your man in these lands, and I will see that my neighbors swear the same oaths I do. Let Heron keep his half-melted hall. Let him sulk in his black shell until he dies. The rivers will not heed his call again. Visenya's eyes gleamed with a satisfaction she did not bother to hide. Better than burning him, she murmured. Let him live to watch his realm slip away drop by drop, like water through fingers. Rhaenys only looked thoughtful. There will be blood, she said. Yes, Aegon said, but not in a field of fire, in 100 small quarrels here and there, as power shifts hands. That is a work of years, not days. We can shape it. He looked at Edmund Tully. Kneel, he said. Edmund did. By the time winter's first true chill brushed the air, Aegon's realm existed not only in ink and oaths, but in men's minds. They began to call him king. Some called him High King, some king of the 7 kingdoms, though the number did not yet truly tally. Dorne still stood apart, watching from its deserts. Heron still clung to his blackened towers, growling and sending out raiding parties to harry those who turned from him. But the pattern of power had shifted. Old Town gave its blessing after much wrangling. The High Septon, a plump man with kindly eyes and a spine that hardened when he spoke of doctrine, insisted that the Targaryen practice of brother-sister marriage must end. The 7 did not smile upon such unions, he said. If Aegon wished their faith's full embrace, he must set aside one of his wives, or both, and take a bride from among the great houses of Westeros. Rhaenys laughed outright when that demand was relayed. They would tear us apart to make us more wholesome, she said. How very pious. Visenya's hand went to Dark Sister. I will cut his tongue out of his head. Aegon only said, No. In what sense? Visenya asked. I will not set either of you aside, Aegon said. We have been together since we were children. Our bond is the foundation of my claim as much as the dragons are. I will not let a man whose hands have never known steel tell me whom I may love and wed. Then we will not have the faith's blessing, Visenya said. We may yet, Aegon said. Blessings can be broadened. He went to the starry September himself. He did not kneel before the altar, but he did lay his sword, Blackfire Valyrian steel, dark and rippling, upon the steps. I do not come to ask your leave to rule, he told the High Septon, who sat upon his crystal throne like a living statue, that I will take or not by my own strength and the realm's will. I come to pledge this sword and the dragons behind it to the defense of the faith's flock against all threats, be they ironborn raiders, wildling hordes, or things the maester scoff at but my dreams speak of. In return, I ask that you not set the Seven's words against my blood. Do not call me abomination from your pulpit. If you must condemn brother weddings, do so in general. Leave names aside. You ask us to condone sin by silence, the High Septon said. No, Aegon said. I ask you to weigh sins, which is greater, that two who share blood share a bed, or that this realm be torn apart in righteous fury over it, leaving us all weaker when darkness falls. Your books speak of false gods and idols. They also speak of the Father's judgment, the Mother's mercy, and the Smith's work. I am trying to do a work that will keep children from burning. If you must rebuke me to keep faith with your own vows, do so, but do not arm my foes with holy words. The High Septon looked at him for a long time. You are not what I expected, he said at last. Most men who come before me with such power in their hands speak of destiny and divine right. You speak of work. I have little time for destiny, Aegon said, only for what needs doing. The High Septon's mouth curved, almost invisible under his thick beard. We will not crown you in the starry September, he said, not while you cling to your Valyrian ways. But we will not call for your head from the pulpit either. We will speak of the need for unity in troubled times. We will speak of a king who, though flawed, may yet be the tool the Seven use to shape this realm. Will that suffice? It will, Aegon said. For now, on Dragonstone once more, winter winds howling and dragons steaming in their sleep, Aegon looked down at the painted table. The map had changed, not in wood but in his mind. Connections glowed there now, invisible lines of oath and debt and fear and hope. The north tied to the Trident to the Vale to the Reach to the Westerlands, the Stormlands to Dragonstone, all under a single shadow. The dragons, yes, but also the idea of a realm that could be more than a handful of warring crowns. Rhaenys came to him with a roll of parchment. What is that? He asked. A song, she said. He arched a brow. Already? Someone must begin to teach them how to speak of you, she said. Else they will only remember what you did not do. They will say, he might have burned Harrenhal and he did not. He might have scorched the Reach and he did not. They will not understand the strength in staying your hand. So I will give them words. She unrolled the parchment and read, her voice low and lilting. He came on wings of shadowed flame, not bringer of the sword alone, but binder of a broken land, who set aside a blood-won throne, to make of crowns a single band. Visenya snorted from the corner, where she was oiling Dark Sister. You make him out better than he is. That is the singer's art, Rhaenys said, to take a hard, plain truth and wrap it in beauty so men remember it. What is the plain truth, then? Aegon asked. Rhaenys looked at him over the scroll. That you are afraid, she said gently. Afraid of what will come if you fail. Afraid of burning men. Afraid of not burning them when you must. Afraid each choice you make will echo into a future you do not understand. Is that how you see me? Aegon asked. That is how I see all of us, she said. But I can make it sound noble when I sing, if you like. Visenya's lips curved. Sing of his stubbornness too, she said. It deserves a verse of its own. There is time for many verses, Rhaenys said. Your reign is only beginning. So it was. The Iron Throne was forged regardless, though less as a symbol of crushed enemies and more as a caution. Iron from the swords of men who had sworn themselves to him, not those who had died defying him. Let it remind me what happens if I fail, Aegon said when the last sword cooled. Each blade here is a man's promise. If I break enough of them, they will be turned against me. He chose a hill overlooking Blackwater Bay, bought with coin from the Darklands of Duskendale rather than stolen by force, as the site of his seat. The city that grew around it was not born in a day with dragonfire clearing its way, but in years of slow building, ships coming and going under banners of many colors, trade flowing in richer measures than ever before. They called it King's Landing still, for the day Aegon set foot there with his sisters and declared that his hall would rise upon that ground. But beneath the name, the spirit was different. He built not only a red keep but a hall of concord beside it, a long low building where lords and maesters and merchants might gather to debate law and coin. There, men who would once have raised their banners against one another instead raised their voices, hammered tables, and left with ink-stained fingers instead of blood on their hands. He listened. Sometimes he did not like what he heard. Taxes, always taxes, Mern Gardner complained in one such council, pounding his fist upon the polished oak. You speak of roads and ports and granaries, but every new granary needs grain, every road needs stone, and all of it needs coin. You ask the Reach to feed half the realm. The Reach is best able, Aegon said. Your fields overflow, so let others plant more, Mern retorted. The Westerlands have hills enough for terracing. The North can clear more land if it must. They cannot, not without starving their own in the short term, Torrhen Stark said coolly. You have no snow down there, Lord Mern. You do not understand what it is to watch a harvest fail and know there is nowhere else to turn. Peace does not mean equal ease, Loren Lannister remarked, idly twirling a gold ring. You have chosen fine soil, Mern. Now you must reap what grows in it. You only say that because your vaults are full, Mern shot back. Gold does not go moldy. Grain does. If we keep feeding everyone, our own small folk will gripe they work to fill other bellies first. And if they starve when winter comes, Aegon said softly, do you think they will thank you for not feeding others now? There is more than one way for a realm to break, not only in clashing spears, but in quiet resentment when bellies are empty and you have 6 fat harvests hidden away. You speak like a man who has never tilled a field, Mern muttered. I speak like a man who has seen a city's bones through the ash, Aegon said. Valyria burned not only because dragons fought, but because pride blinded men to the cracks spreading under their feet. I will not see that here, not if I can prevent it. The Reach will send grain. The Westerlands will send coin. The Stormlands will build ships. The North will keep the roads safe from wildlings and brigands. The Vale will guard the passes. The Riverlands will keep the trade routes open. Dorne, if they choose to join us, will guard our southern coast. We will all bear burdens. That is what union means. The arguments never truly ended. They only changed shape. When Princess Maria Martell came at last to King's Landing, she did not kneel. She walked into the Hall of Concord in flowing orange and red, her hair bound with gold, her dark eyes measuring everything. You asked me to bring Dorne into your realm, she said, when Aegon received her in a private chamber that looked out over the bay. Seagulls wheeled, ships bobbed beneath. I ask you to bring Dorne into this peace, Aegon corrected. Your people are fierce and proud. They will be a strength at our southern flank. They will be sand in your boot, Maria replied dryly. You will never be rid of us entirely. We do not take well to crowns and laws imposed from afar. Then do not take them, Aegon said. Take only a treaty. I will not demand your people bow to the Iron Throne. I will ask instead that we consider yourselves bound by alliance. You will not raid our coasts. We will not send our armies into your deserts. When an enemy threatens one, both will answer. When winter comes, we will send grain down the Greenblood as needed. When dragons fly north, Dornish spears need not march with them, unless you choose. Maria studied him. You offer much, she said. You ask little. What gains you most? A southern border that does not bleed, Aegon said simply. A people, whose strength is not spent fighting my other vassals. and perhaps, in time, a marriage or two between our houses, to teach our grandchildren that dragons and suns can share the same sky." She laughed at that, a low, throaty sound. "You are sly," she said. "I like you better than the tales Norse of you. They make you out a god or a monster. You are neither. You are a man trying very hard not to be either. Very well, Aegon of Dragonstone. We will sign your treaty. But do not speak to me of kneeling." "I will not," Aegon said. "So long as you remember that we will be friends," Marya said. He did remember. Years passed. Children were born. Aenys came first of Rhaenys' body, a sickly infant at first cry, but growing stronger as months turned to years, his laughter bright and his curiosity boundless. Maegor came later, sprung from Visenya, large and solemn, with hands that liked the weight of wooden swords almost as soon as he could lift them. "They will inherit this realm," Rhaenys said one night, watching them play with wooden dragons on the floor of Aegon Solar. "They will think it was always so. One king, one realm, one table where lords shout at each other instead of drawing steel. They will not know how close it came to another song." Visenya agreed, her gaze distant. "A song of charred fields and melted stone." "That is well," Aegon said quietly. "Let them take this peace for granted. It will be proof that we did our work." "Do you think they will keep it?" Rhaenys asked. "When you are gone, when we are all names in books." Aegon watched Aenys carefully arranging his wooden dragons into a circle, then knocking them all down with a delighted shriek. Maegor picked one up, frowned, and set it back upright. "I do not know," Aegon said. "I cannot see that far. My dreams show me only winter and shadows, and sometimes a great red comet crossing the sky. Perhaps that will be their time, not mine. All I can do is leave them a realm strong enough that when it breaks, and all realms break in time, it does so in cracks, not in a shattering." "Comforting," Rhaenys murmured. "Bleak," Visenya said. "Honest," Aegon answered. He grew older. Scars formed. One from a knife thrust in a narrow King's Landing alley by a fanatic who called him abomination and tried to free the realm from dragon sin. Another from a fall during a stormy flight when Balerion bucked at a sudden lightning flash. He walked more slowly than he once had, but his mind stayed keen. The dragons grew too. Balerion, already vast, became something more than that, a living mountain. When he flew over fields, children ran after his shadow, laughing, while their elders glanced up with old unease. Vagor and mare axes stretched along the hill below the Red Keep sometimes, basking in the sun like cats. Their presence, more than any law, kept lords from thinking too rashly of rebellion. Yet there were challenges. Ironborn raiders who refused to accept that their age of free pillage was done. A faith militant rising in scattered pockets, waving seven-pointed stars and railing against incest and dragons both. One harsh winter when even the Reach's granaries emptied faster than they could be refilled, and Aegon lay awake nights contemplating which regions could be spared and which could not. Through it all, he held. He did not always succeed. He did not always choose rightly. There were times he regretted not taking a harder hand with Harren's heirs, when the Black Line continued to trouble the Trident with small provocations until at last Edmund Tully's grandson cornered them into a treaty that left them little more than lords of a single smoky tower. Times he wondered if letting Dorne remain so separate would make it easier for some future king to scapegoat them for a later war. But the realm did not tear itself apart. When word came, many years into his reign, of strange sightings beyond the wall, blue-eyed corpses walking in the snow, wildlings fleeing south in terror, rangers not returning, Aegon felt the old shiver of the dream along his spine. It had begun. He called his banners not to march against one another, but to march together. Torrhen Stark's grandson bore the direwolf banner at his side as they rode north. Mern's successor sent grain, not men, but it was enough. Loren's heir came with carts of gold to pay sellswards to hold roads and keep the peace in the south while the realm's core strength marched north. The Stormlands sent hardy men used to rain and cold. The Vale's knights rode in unmatched discipline. Even a small contingent from Dorne came, spears glinting beneath sun-patterned cloaks. The dragons flew above them. On the wall, old men wept to see it. "You came," the Lord Commander of the Night's Watch said, voice breaking as he stood before Aegon atop the icy rampart. The wind knifed through furs and armor alike. "I sent word more in hope than in faith. Southron lords have little love for our order these days." "I am not here as a Southron lord," Aegon said. "I am here as the man who tied this realm together for this very moment. Do you truly think your dragons can burn cold things?" The Lord Commander asked, looking out at the endless white beyond the wall. "I do not know," Aegon said, "but we will find out." The fighting that followed would be the subject of more songs than any battle that had not been fought in that realm's first years. Men would liken the sight of dragons over the wall to the first dawn after a night of terror. They would speak of Aegon's calm voice in the midst of blizzards, of Rhaenys' laughter even when facing horrors that had no true name, of Visenya riding Vagor into a storm of ice shards that cut flesh and dragon scale alike. They would forget the years of patient council work and tax wrangling that made it possible for armies to reach the wall with supplies enough to last. They would not sing of debates in the Hall of Concord that set grain aside. Against this very day, they would not remember the old woman in the Reach who died slightly hungrier so that a young man in the north might stand on the wall with a full belly when the dead came. That was as it must be, Aegon knew. In the end, Dragonflame did not solve everything. Steel, dragonglass, and sacrifice were needed as well. Men died. Whole villages were swept away by unnatural cold. There were nights when even Dragonfire seemed to dim before the onslaught of white. But the realm held. It held because it was won. When Aegon returned south at last, aged 10 years and half a year of war, the people lined the roads to cheer. They threw flowers and called his name. Some called him Conqueror. Some named him Dragonsbane. Some simply shouted, "Our king," until their voices broke. He rode past them, hearing the roar as if from a great distance. In the quiet of his solar that night, staring once more at the painted table, now nicked and scorched at the northmost edge where some careless spark from a hearth had fallen, he let himself feel the weight lift, if only a little. "You did it," Rhaenys said, coming behind him to rest her hands upon his shoulders. "You saw the dream and you made the realm ready. A dream is never truly done," he said. "Winter will come again, long after we are gone. Men will grow lax. Kings will grow foolish. This peace will fray. It is in our nature. But for now, yes, for now we have done what we could." Visenya leaned against the table's far edge, her hair threaded with more silver now than gold, dark sister at her side as ever. "You could have taken all this in a year," she said quietly, "with fire and blood. You could have carved your name into every hill with Dragonflame. Instead you sat in halls and listened to fat men argue about grain." "I know," Aegon said. "I sometimes think I chose the harder road." "You did," Rhaenys said, "but the better one." Visenya's gaze softened, rare and bright. "They will call you Aegon the Conqueror regardless," she said. "Men love their simple tales. They will forget half of what you did and misremember the rest. But those who look closely will see. They will know this realm was not forged in a day of blood, but in years of restraint." "I do not care what they call me," Aegon said. "You do," Rhaenys said gently. "We all do a little, but you care more for this." She touched the carved line of the wall at the table's top. "For that I am glad." He reached up to cover her hand with his. "Conquest and peace are not as far apart as men think," he said. "Both are choices every day, to take or to build, to burn or to spare. I had dragons. I chose not to use them as others would have. That is all. That," Visenya said, "is everything." He closed his eyes. Just for a moment, in the darkness behind his lids, he saw again that first dream. Dragons wheeling over a frozen land, the darkness marching, the fire meeting it in a clash that shook the world. This time, when the scene shifted south, he did not see scattered, warring crowns. He saw banners, wolf and lion, stag and dragon, rose and falcon, trout and spear and sun, arrayed together under one sky. They did not always stand easily side by side. They jostled and jeered and sometimes snarled. But they stood. He opened his eyes. On the painted table, his realm lay before him. Not perfect, not eternal, but whole.